Hey, if you're enjoying these writing lessons and want to practice your writing, then get even more writing lessons and printable writing practice sheets inside our learning program. So sign up for a free lifetime account right now. It takes less than 30 seconds. Just click the link in the description to sign up and start learning in seconds.
Welcome to Introduction to Chinese. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Ray.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Chinese writing. Unlike English, which is an alphabetic language, Chinese is written with characters. These represent both sound and meaning.
Each Hanzi has one syllable. One or more syllables make up a word. So in Chinese, a word can be made up of one or more Hanzi. For example, the word Hanzi is made of two syllables. The first one, Han, means Chinese, or the Han people, which is a majority ethnic group in China. The second syllable, Zi, means word. So Han and Zi together means Chinese characters.
Although there are more than 50,000 characters in Chinese, you only need to know 2,000 to 3,000 to be considered literate.
Still, memorizing 3,000 Chinese characters sounds like a huge challenge, but it's actually easier than you may think. All Chinese characters are made up of smaller components that are used over and over again in other characters. This means that by learning just one component, you can effectively learn multiple characters at the same time. Let's look at this aspect in more detail.
Most Chinese characters are pictophonetic. They consist of a radical and a phonetic element. These are the technical terms for the components we just talked about. The radical often suggests the meaning of a character. The phonetic part indicates the original pronunciation, which may or may not be the modern pronunciation.
For example, let's look at the character fan, rice or meal. Its radical is, which indicates that this word is related to food or eating. The second part, fan, is a phonetic element. It suggests that its pronunciation is close to the pronunciation of the character fan, meaning opposite.
To be able to recognize and write Chinese characters, you should know the basic radicals. Now we'll give you a few of the most commonly used radicals.
人 or its variation means man or person. It's present in words like 你, you, 他, he, 众, the masses. 女, meaning woman. It's in words like 妈, mom, 姐, older sister, 姑娘, girl. 心 or its variation means heart, 想, to think, 意, to recall. 手 or its variation means hand. It usually appears when the word describes an action using hands, such as 打, to hit, 拉, to pull, 推, to push, 拿, to grab. 口 means mouth. Characters with this radical often involve using your mouth, such as 吃, to eat, 唱, to sing, 吞, to swallow. 目 means eye, 看, to look or see, 睡, to sleep. 言 or its variation means speech, 说, to speak or say, 请, please or to invite, 谢, to thank. 水 or its variation means water, 海, ocean, 河, river, 洗, to wash. 火 or its variation means fire. For example, 烧, to burn, 灯, light, 热, hot. 衣 or its variation means clothing, 衬衫, shirt, 袋子, bag.
Most radicals are at the left or bottom of a character. By identifying radicals, it should be much easier to decode the meaning of new characters. For the phonetic elements, it takes time and effort to memorize their pronunciations. The more you study them, the easier it will be. When writing in Chinese, it's important to know the order of strokes. Knowing the number of strokes is also important when you look up a word in a radical-based dictionary. Some characters can have many strokes, and they can get very complex. If they're not written in the correct order, some characters may even be unreadable. So learning the proper stroke order is quite important. Remember, write from left to right.
川 river 人 person
From top to bottom.
3 3
Horizontal, then vertical.
10 10 土 soil
Outside, then inside.
月 moon 用 to use
Inside, then close.
回 to return 田 farmland
The middle, then the sides.
小 small 水 water
Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned.
In this lesson, we introduced you to the basics of Chinese characters. You also learned that Chinese characters are comprised of radicals. Finally, you learned some of the most common stroke patterns when writing Hanzi.
In the next lesson, you'll be entering Chinese boot camp, where you'll learn useful beginner phrases to get you speaking Chinese right away. We'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!
Bye!
Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this series, you'll master Chinese pronunciation. Proper pronunciation is essential in Chinese, and in this series, you'll learn it in a fast, comprehensive, and easy way. In the first lesson of the series, you'll learn about the building blocks of the Chinese pronunciation system that will help you in future lessons. As you're probably quite aware, Chinese doesn't use an alphabetical writing system like English does. Instead, it uses characters that are comprised of parts which depict physical objects or abstract ideas. Literacy in Chinese requires the memorization of thousands of components and characters. As you can see, this can be quite daunting for new learners of Chinese. For example, if you were asked to pronounce this character, where would you even begin? You'll pick up the writing system eventually, but since we're just focused on pronunciation, we need to skip that for now. We need to start dealing with the sounds of Chinese without the baggage of Chinese characters, and that's where pinyin comes in. Pinyin is the transcription of Chinese characters using Roman letters. This makes learning Chinese much easier, particularly for English speakers. As you begin to learn more characters and improve in Chinese, you'll eventually rely on pinyin less and less, but for now, it's a good place to start. Now, let's have a look at all the sounds in Chinese. There are 26 consonant sounds and 14 vowel sounds in Chinese. You can form every single word in Chinese by using these sounds. Still seem complicated? Well, how about this? Of the 26 consonant sounds in Chinese, you already know 15 of them. That's right. If you're a native English speaker, then you already make these sounds every day. You can also ignore 7 of the vowel sounds for the same reason. The only thing standing between you and perfect Chinese pronunciation are 11 new consonant and 7 new vowel sounds. You can handle that. Now let me introduce Yinru, who will be helping you to master these new sounds.
你好，我是殷如。
Throughout this series, Yinru will be giving you native pronunciation examples for you to imitate. But for this first lesson, just sit back and listen to the unique sounds of Chinese.
哪儿、小、食、肉、北京、钱、早餐、葱、中文、长、玉、他、累、月、冷、日、楼、绿。
In the next lesson, we'll look at the top 5 pronunciation mistakes Chinese learners make. You'll want to make sure not to fall into these common traps. After that, we'll begin going through the vowels and consonants of Chinese. This is your chance to learn how to correctly say all of the words you just heard. We'll finish up the series by covering some special topics that will really make your Chinese sound natural. To close this lesson, here's a question for you. Why is it important to spend time on learning proper pronunciation, even if you're already an advanced speaker? The answer? You will be understood, and this will help you build more confidence as you communicate in Chinese. For beginners, you're creating a strong foundation to build on. And for more advanced students, this is your chance to improve your accent and lose any bad habits you may have picked up. What is hard about pronouncing Chinese to you? Tell us about it in the comments. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide lesson. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn the top 5 Chinese pronunciation mistakes to avoid. These are common mistakes that students of Chinese tend to make. So pay close attention and make sure that you don't make these same mistakes too. Are you ready? Then let's get started. Number 1. Tones. Chinese is a tonal language. The tones are a major challenge for Chinese learners of all levels, but they can't be avoided. Using the wrong tone can give a word a completely different meaning and lead to miscommunication.
Ma, 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 ma.
In particular, learners have a hard time with the third tone. Listen to an example which uses this tone.
你
It's the most unique tone out of all the tones because the pitch dips and then rises.
你
Imagine a ball bouncing on the ground as you make this tone. Down and up. We'll discuss the tones in detail in lessons 8 and 9. Number 2. Mispronouncing the U sound. English speakers tend to read the pinyin U like the in good. This is incorrect. It should be more like the double O sound in the word boot.
乌 乌
Whenever you're pronouncing the Chinese U, imagine a little girl pouting and saying no in Chinese.
不
You want to round your lips as much as possible. It's better to over-exaggerate than to make the wrong sound. Number 3. Pronouncing people incorrectly. Many people tend to mispronounce the E sound in the word people. They commonly substitute it for the English E, as in red. This is incorrect. The Chinese E sounds more like an ugh sound.
人
It's identical to the E sound at the end of the word problem. In fact, the Chinese E is a very special sound because it's the most neutral of all sounds. It requires the least amount of effort to pronounce because you don't have to move your lips, tongue, or mouth. All you need to do is relax and have everything in a resting position and just let your vocal cords do the rest.
人
We'll take an in-depth look at the vowel sounds in the next lesson. Number 4. Pronouncing the Chinese Q as a ch sound. This is one of the biggest mistakes for students of Chinese. There are many ch-like sounds in Chinese, all of which are distinct. The challenge for English speakers is to first perceive the difference and then to recreate it. The Chinese Q sound should be pronounced with the tip of the tongue touching the bottom teeth, while the blade of the tongue lays flat behind the front teeth.
钱
We'll break down the differences between the ch sounds of Chinese in lesson 7. Number 5. Adding an R sound to the end of to eat.
吃
Students of Chinese tend to add an R sound in the middle or at the end of a word. This generally occurs when the speaker isn't used to pronouncing the Chinese CH. The Chinese CH requires you to place your tongue in a position that you're unfamiliar with. If you're an English speaker, your brain naturally assumes that you're trying to pronounce an English R due to muscle memory. Watch out for this when you're practicing the Chinese CH. We'll cover ch-like sounds in lesson 7. Now you know the top 5 Chinese pronunciation mistakes to avoid. Try to be careful so that you don't commit these same mistakes. Still feel a bit worried? Over the rest of this series, we'll cover all of these topics in depth. In the next lesson, we'll start learning vowel sounds in Chinese. Which of these 5 mistakes is the hardest to avoid? Have you learned any tricks to deal with them? Let us know in the comments. Stick with us and you'll overcome these quickly. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide lesson. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn all the Chinese vowels and their variant vowel sounds.
A, E, I, O, U.
With these sounds, you can pronounce any vowel that could possibly appear in Chinese. Some vowels may be hard for you to distinguish, especially for English speakers, so make sure you listen carefully. Remember that memorizing and reproducing the sound is the goal. Don't get too frustrated if you forget when to use the variant sounds. That'll come naturally later. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first vowel is
A, Ta, Da, Cha.
This is almost identical to the A sound in the word father, except the tongue is in more of a neutral position. When you say the word father, do you feel a small pressure at the back of your mouth? The idea is to relieve that pressure, keeping everything in the same position. Just move your tongue forward a bit. You can kind of get a feel for this if you over-exaggerate the ah in father by opening your mouth as wide as possible. When you move your tongue forward, you will relieve that pressure, and it should sound a little whinier as a result. Study how Yinru pronounces this sound.
A, A. A, A.
When paired with the following, the A changes.
少, Tang.
It becomes identical to the A sound in the word father.
A, A. A, A.
When paired with the following, the A changes.
咸, Duan.
It becomes identical to the E sound in the word red.
E, E. E, E.
The next vowel is
人, 热, 可.
It's identical to the E sound at the end of the word problem.
呃
When paired with the following, the E changes.
累
It becomes similar to the A sound in the word play. However, try not to carry over the Y sound too much. Try to relax your jaw and say it as if you're allowing the vowel to spill out from your mouth. Listen to how Yinru pronounces this vowel.
e e e e
When paired with the following, the E changes.
切
When paired like this, it becomes the E sound in red from before.
月
This is identical to the previous sound, but with rounded lips. Try saying the E in red while rounding your lips. Now listen to how Yinru says it.
e e e e
When paired with the following, the E changes.
扔
It's similar to the O sound in the word boring, but with unrounded lips. You'll find that when you start unrounding your lips, it'll start to change to more of a U sound. Try it. Now listen to how Yinru pronounces it.
e e e
The next vowel is
一 北京衣服秘密
It's identical to the double E sound in the word see.
一，一，一，一，
When paired with the following, the I changes.
日，知识，紫色，
This is similar to the previous sound. It's kind of like the double E sound in the word see, except your tongue is a little bit further back in your mouth in a more centralized position. One trick to pronouncing this vowel is to say the word ye, as in, O ye of little faith. The Y sound should raise your tongue to the correct position in your mouth. Try it. Now listen to how Yinru pronounces this vowel.
一，一，一，一，
When paired with the following, the I changes.
爱，飞，
It's identical to the short I sound in the word bit. The next vowel is
哦，我，菠菜，魔术，
It's identical to the OU sound in the word ought.
哦，哦，哦，哦，
When paired with the following, the O changes.
红，空，中国，
It's identical to the double O sound in the word hook.
哦，哦，啊，啊，
When paired with the following, the O changes.
手，欧洲，肉，
The O becomes a little bit like the O sound in the word O. However, try not to carry over the W sound too much.
哦，哦，哦，哦，
And the last vowel is
乌，哭，书，父亲，
It's similar to the double O sound in the word boot. However, you want to slightly pout your lips more and exaggerate the rounding. Listen to how Yinru pronounces this vowel.
乌，乌，乌，乌，
When paired with the following, the U changes.
绿，玉，去，
This is like the double E sound in C, but with rounded lips. Try saying the double E in C while rounding your lips. Now listen to how Yinru pronounces this vowel.
吁，吁，吁，吁。
Well done! You've just learned all the vowels and their variant sounds in Chinese. With these sounds, you can properly pronounce any vowel that could possibly appear in the Chinese language. Isn't that great? Well, that's all for vowels. In the next lesson, you'll start learning consonant sounds. Which vowel sound was the most difficult for you to learn? Please comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide lesson. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn 7 Chinese consonants.
G, k, l, n, n,
These consonant sounds are identical to the ones in English, so they should already be familiar to you. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first consonant is
飞，房子，风水，
like the F in the word find. The next consonant is
g 高给工作
like the K in the word skim or skip. Be very careful with this sound though, because it's not like the K in kit, for example. The K in skim doesn't have a burst of air at the end of the sound, whereas kit does. Sounds that have a burst of air are said to be aspirated, while sounds that do not have a burst of air, like this one, are unaspirated. Unlike English, Chinese differentiates between aspirated and unaspirated sounds, so be careful of this.
g g g g
The next consonant is
口渴顾客开关
This is the aspirated version of the K sound, meaning there should be a burst or release of air, like the K in the word kit.
k k k k
The next consonant is
l 老龙力量
like the L in the word let.
l l l l
The next consonant is
母亲门名字
like the M in the word mouse.
嗯嗯嗯
The next consonant is
男您牛奶
like the N in the word nice.
n n n n
And the final consonant sound is
北京上海香港
like the sound in the word sing.
嗯嗯
Well done! You just learned your first 7 consonants in Chinese.
g k l n n
In the next lesson, you'll learn 8 more consonant sounds that are identical to the ones in English. Was seeing the pronunciation illustrations helpful? Please comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide lesson. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn 8 Chinese consonants.
b p s d t w h y.
These consonant sounds are identical to the ones in English, so they should already be familiar to you. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first consonant is
b 爆炸宝宝杯子
Be careful, because this isn't like a hard B sound. This is the unaspirated version of the P sound as it occurs in the word span.
b b b b
The next consonant is
朋友皮包陪伴
This is the aspirated version of the P sound as it occurs in the word pan. The next consonant is
3. 颜色，搜索，
like the S in the word see. The next consonant is
大，对，东，
This isn't a hard D sound. This is the unaspirated version of the T sound as it occurs in the word stand.
的，的， 的，的，
The next consonant is
它，特点，地图，
This is the aspirated version of the T sound as it occurs in the word tan. The next consonant is
问，王，问，外国人，
like the W in the word we.
问，问，问，问，
The next consonant is
和，红色，很好，
It's easy to think this is an H sound, but it's more like a prolonged K sound. The trick is to make a K sound without cutting off the airstream completely. It's like the CH sound in the word yech, or the Scottish loch, as in Loch Ness. The final consonant for this lesson is
也，鸭，一样，游泳，
like the Y in the word you.
也，也，也，也。
Well done! You just learned another 8 consonant sounds in Chinese.
b, p, s, d, t, w, h, y.
In the next lesson, you'll learn 6 new consonant sounds. These sounds don't appear in English, so they'll be trickier than the last batch. Were there more common sounds than you expected? Please comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide lesson. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn 6 Chinese consonants.
2 x, sh, r, j, q.
These consonant sounds do not appear in English, so they'll likely be new to you. Be sure to practice them because they're unique sounds which learners often get wrong. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first consonant is
2 哪儿，一点儿，没事儿。
This consonant sound is special because it only occurs at the end of a word, and in certain dialects you may not hear it at all. You can think of this consonant as an over-exaggerated R sound. American speakers can typically produce this sound when saying the word error. To get a better understanding of what this feels like, try saying the word very slowly while exaggerating the R sound. Focus on the double R at the beginning of the word. Your tongue should be curled upwards, just past your gum ridge. Listen to how Yinru pronounces this sound.
2 2 2 2
The next 2 sounds that we'll tackle are often very difficult for English speakers to differentiate, so pay extra attention. Both of these consonants sound like the sh in sheep. However, they're not the same. Be extra careful because it's essential that you distinguish between the two following sounds. The first sh sounding consonant is
西安小谢谢
This sounds like an S sound mixed with a little bit of an SH sound. It's best to think of this consonant as a constricted SH sound, or as if you were trying to hush an S. One trick to producing this sound is to try and say the word ship while keeping the tip of your tongue in contact with the bottom teeth at all times and using the blade of your tongue to produce the hushing sound. Do not protrude your lips as you would in English. They should remain spread. The second sh sounding consonant is
十上海神圣
This sounds like an over-exaggerated sh sound. The easiest way to pronounce this consonant is to first try and pronounce an R sound. Now, with your tongue in that position, try to make a sh sound at the same time. It's kind of like you're saying the word sure. Got it? Your tongue should be curled upwards. In fact, it should be in exactly the same position as the over-exaggerated R that we just learned at the beginning of this lesson. Now listen to how Yinru says it.
sh 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 sh
The next consonant is
日肉热日本人
This is identical to the previous sound. The only difference is that this consonant is voiced, meaning that you should feel vibrations coming from your throat. It almost sounds like a mix of an R sound and a Z sound. Listen to how Yinru pronounces this sound.
日日日日
Do you remember the difference between aspirated and unaspirated sounds? Aspirated consonants have a burst or release of air, while unaspirated sounds do not. The next two sounds distinguish between the two, so pay close attention. The unaspirated one is
姐北京姐姐再见
This sound is like a combination between a T sound and the constricted sh sound that you learned earlier. Try to keep the tip of your tongue behind the bottom teeth and use the blade of your tongue to make the contact instead. Additionally, this is an unaspirated sound, so you don't want to blow out a puff of air. Otherwise, you'd be saying a different word.
姐姐姐姐
The aspirated one is
前去请
This sound is identical to the previous one. However, the difference is that it's the aspirated counterpart, meaning you want to release a burst of air. Listen to how Yinru says it and try to hear the difference.
起起起起
Well done! You just learned another 6 Chinese consonants.
二西sh日姐起
These consonant sounds do not appear in English, so be sure to practice them. In the next lesson, you'll learn 5 more Chinese consonants that are unique to English speakers. How do these sounds compare to the ones you learned in the previous lesson? Please comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide lesson. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn 5 Chinese consonants.
z c r ch yu
These consonant sounds do not appear in English, so they'll likely be new to you. Be sure to practice them because these are the unique sounds that learners often get wrong. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first consonant is
z 早餐自己走吧
This consonant sound is like a combination of a T and an S sound. It starts off as a T sound, but ends with an S sound. Here's a great tip. You can produce this sound by saying the word pizza. So one useful trick is to bounce off of the ending when trying to pronounce this consonant sound. Additionally, this is an unaspirated sound, so don't blow out a puff of air. Otherwise, you'd be making another sound.
z z z z
The next consonant is
菜餐馆厕所
This sound is identical to the previous one. However, the difference is that it's the aspirated counterpart, meaning you want to release a burst of air. Here's a great tip. You can produce this sound by saying the word cats. Listen to how Yinru says it to hear the difference. The next consonant is
z 中文重要作者
Do you remember the over-exaggerated SH sound from the last lesson? Well, this is a combination of a T sound and an over-exaggerated SH sound. Be careful though, because you still want to roll your tongue upwards into the R position. Make sure your tongue is curled upwards so that it touches just behind the gum ridge, and then release quickly. This sound is unaspirated, so you don't want to blow out a puff of air.
z z z z
The next consonant is
ch 出发长城好吃
This sound is identical to the previous one. However, the difference is that it's the aspirated counterpart, meaning you want to release a burst of air. Listen to how Yinru pronounces it.
sh 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 sh
And lastly, the final sound occurs when Y and U are paired together.
月月远云
This is like a Y sound, but with rounded lips. Try saying the English word you while rounding your lips. If that doesn't work, try rounding your lips first and then saying you.
鱼鱼鱼鱼
Well done! You just learned another 5 Chinese consonants.
z c z sh yu
You've now learned all of the sounds that could possibly be pronounced in Chinese. In the next lesson, you'll learn how to produce all the tones in Chinese. Which sound was the most difficult to learn? Please comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide lesson. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn about the tones in Chinese. Tone is the use of pitch to distinguish meaning, and it is an integral part of the Chinese language. Just like how mispronouncing a sound or misreading a character can have a huge impact on meaning, using the wrong tone can drastically change the meaning of a word or sentence too. It is therefore crucial that you learn how to use tones correctly. There are theoretically a total of 5 tones in Chinese. 4 main tones, which inflect a change in relative pitch, and 1 tone which is completely neutral. The tones are neutral,
ma
high tone,
ma
rising tone,
ma
falling and rising tone,
ma
and falling tone.
ma
As you can see, using the wrong tone can be detrimental to communication. So let's go through them one by one. Though it isn't officially recognized as a tone in Chinese, we should talk a little bit about what it means to be neutral. To deliver something in a neutral tone is to say it in the most comfortable range without any changes in stress or pitch during delivery.
Le,
It's the least amount of effort required to deliver something. All other tones are relative to the neutral tone. What this means is that a high tone is only high relative to the speaker's normal, neutral range. So the neutral tone is like the base for all other tones. Neutral syllables do not need to be marked with any accents in written notation. The first tone is the high tone. It's marked with a horizontal line above the letter. It sounds like this.
shu,
It's pronounced high and steady, and the pitch should be kept at the highest range that's comfortable for you.
bao,
The key point here is to keep it even across the whole syllable.
shu bao,
Now you try.
shu bao,
The second tone is the rising tone. It's marked with a rising diagonal line going from left to right. It sounds like this.
ren,
It has a rising intonation and kind of sounds like you're asking a question.
fan,
You should start from a comfortable range and then rise from there.
fan ren,
Now you try.
fan ren,
The third tone is the falling and rising tone. It's marked with an upward semicircle. It sounds like this.
hao,
This tone is often the most challenging for many students of Chinese. Starting from around mid-range, dip to the very bottom of your range until you feel like something is stuck in your throat, and then rise quickly to clear it.
jiao,
Using hand gestures while trying to pronounce this tone really helps. The key point here is bouncing off from the deepest part of your range.
xue,
Now you try.
xue,
The fourth and final tone is the falling tone. It's marked with a falling line going from left to right. It sounds like this.
xia,
It sounds like a fast, sharp drop. English speakers often associate this tone as being angry sounding.
ke,
It might help to imagine a pencil dropping as you're pronouncing this tone.
下课,
Now you try.
下课,
Now you know how to produce tones in Chinese. In the next lesson, we'll cover tone change rules in Chinese. Are tones as hard as you thought they were? Please comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn a few rules which will require you to change the tone of a syllable in a word or sentence. Pinyin is quite useful for showing you how to pronounce something in Chinese, however, it isn't a perfect system. You'll need to learn these rules because it won't be reflected in the pinyin. You can't have two falling and rising tones next to each other.
很好,
When this happens, you need to pronounce every falling and rising tone, except for the last one, as a rising tone.
很好,
Here's an example with 3 falling and rising tones in a row.
你很好,
Okay, now let's move on to the next tone change rule.
不,
This character is a falling tone by itself. However, if the next tone is also a falling tone, it will change to a rising tone.
不是, 不会, 不错. 一,
This character is a high tone by itself or when it's used as a number. However, for all other cases, if the next tone is a falling tone, it should be pronounced as a rising tone.
一半, 一步, 一次.
And when the next tone is any other tone that isn't a falling tone, then it'll be pronounced as a falling tone.
一般, 一直, 一起.
It's quiz time! Let's see if you can apply these rules in the real world. How should you pronounce the first character?
不太,
The next character is a falling tone, so this character is pronounced with a rising tone. What about this one?
一些,
Since the next tone is a high tone, the first character is pronounced with a falling tone. If the next tone would have been a falling tone, then this character would have been pronounced as a rising tone. Okay, last one.
好懂，
Remember, the first character is pronounced as a rising tone because you cannot have falling and rising tones next to each other. In this lesson, you learned a few tone change rules in Chinese. In the next lesson, we'll review the material that we've covered in this series. How did you do on the quiz? Please comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next Ultimate Chinese Pronunciation Guide lesson.
10 hardest words to pronounce in Chinese. Okay, let's begin. 去 to go. 去 to go. 去 also has the meaning is last. For example, last year, 去年去登山 to go hiking. Watch me. 去 you just like you want to kiss somebody. 去 and your tongue touch your teeth. 去 Yeah, you did good. 喝水 drink water. 喝水 drink water. The hard part is 水 but in the Carol life we just speak like 水 It's totally okay. No one speak 水 喝水 is okay. 40 You just imagine the word slim. This one didn't have the vibration here, but for the 4 you have the vibration. You can touch here and make sure that this here is a vibration is correct. And for 10 you just imagine the word shift. You add some vibration here. Yeah, it's right. And next, I want to share you a tongue twister. Are you ready? 4是4 10是10 14是14 40是40姜 ginger 姜 ginger. Okay, guys, I want to share a Chinese slang to you. 姜还是老的啦。The meaning from the words means the older ginger is more spicy than the younger ginger, but the real meaning is like the senior person or the older person can handle the more complicated situation than the younger person. 日 day 日 day holiday 节日 What's your favorite holiday? 你最喜欢的节日是什么？我最喜欢的节日是国庆日。My favorite holiday is a national day because we have 1 week holiday. Ha 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 ha. 汉语 Chinese language. 汉语 Chinese language. You can just say 语汉语 is okay for the Carol way. I'm studying Chinese language. 我正在学汉语。猫开肉味 just like 我正在学汉语。Yes, you see that? 语汉语 is okay. 知道 No. 知道 No. I know the hard part is 知 You just imagine the word manage. Didn't vibration. You just add vibration. 知 is okay. And for a sentence, okay, come here. Do you know her name? 你知道她的名字吗？脚 foot 脚 foot. And also it can use for feet. My foot got injured. 我的脚受伤了。I can't walk. 我不能走路了。脚 G-E-O 脚 But you can say 脚。轮 well 轮 well. And also it's a word 轮胎 means tire. You can speak 我的轮胎坏了，车子不走了。辞职 resign 辞职 resign. I know the hard part is 辞 You just imagine barbecue 辞 Okay.
我不想干了，我要辞职。That means I don't want to work here anymore. I want to resign. Resign letter means 辞职信。辞职信。And you also the very official way to say is 辞呈。
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.